subject of the deceased.
My mama did that.
Yeah.
She did it big time. Like, when my auntie first passed, she already didn't like overtime. So when my auntie first passed, it was like she would try to avoid that road as much as possible. But then it got to a point where I can't pick the kids up. I can watch them, but I can't pick them up at a certain time. So you have to pick them up. So it's like my mama, she really tried. But now, like, she don't have a problem. She just don't go up the stairs. She ain't got a reason to be up the stairs. She don't got a reason to be there for more than 5 minutes. My mama don't have a reason to open the gate. Blow that horn, you better come on. Yes, you blow that horn. BB?
Don't even call
No, she won't leave them, but she used to tell lies like, you better beat. And then the bad part is, you don't always get that, oh, I'm round the corner. You know parents never round the corner.
No,
You never got that. So you don't know what time she popping up. You just know when that horn blow, you better bring your head down.
Oh, she doesn't love.
No,
But
she
she
never
did
go
that
around the corner.
As
Oh,
a
my
coping
mom did.
mechanism. She did that as a coping mechanism to not
Have to go in the house.
have to.
Yeah,
go.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. My mom did that big time.
Yeah, I got rid of everything. I got rid of every memory. I got rid of the house. I mean, I couldn't even stand
You
to
took
do.
it to the extreme.
Yeah, I take everything to, I'm very 0 to 100, you know? Yeah,
That's
and now I think about it, I'm like, because at first I beat myself up and I was like, oh, I shouldn't have moved, my kids suffered from the move, but then I'm like, imagine if right now I was living in that house. Every memory that I would have, so in the end, I'm glad that I moved.
Last Thursday, not last Thursday, the week before that. Whenever I said there was a fire with the older people, I told you about that story? Okay, so 2 days after that, the wife ended up catching an infection. So she had to be put in the hospital. She caught an infection from the smoke. Remember I said she couldn't move and he was just right there? So,
This was in the nursing home?
no. Okay,
Where you work.
where I worked, there
Work.
was a fire with the older people, and I was like, I never seen an older, stubborn person.
Oh, who didn't want to leave?
Yes, him and his wife, she can't move. So it's just like both of them were just in there at the same time, like while all the fire and smoke was going on. So 2 days later, she caught an infection. She had to be in the hospital because she caught an infection from the smoke. Monday.
That's so scary, especially at that age.
Yeah, how old are you?
How you think I felt when I found out? Like, oh my God. So 2 days ago, I'm used to when he's come in, it's like, hi honey, hi darling, like something like that. We interact. I even talk to her. I don't be understanding her, but we conversate somehow. So it's like I was waiting to see her because like I found out she had the infection or whatever. So it's like I've been waiting to see them for a while. But it's hard because they couldn't be in an apartment for a while since they had to clean it out. But long story short, she ended up having a heart attack in the house.
What?
Oh my God.
They revived her in the house, but once she got to the hospital, like 2 hours later, she passed. And when I say he immediately had all of her stuff out.
What?
Like it was just crazy because the lady had just told me about it. She had just told me about it. And then when she told me about it, she had tissue behind her back. And she was like, that she was telling me what she knew, like how I reacted with the residents or whatever like that. I was like, yeah, we're cool. Like, I'm jolly with a lot of residents, but some residents, like, I really associate with. And I'm like, they're old. Like, in my head, I'm thinking about my grandma. Like, if you would have seen them, it was crazy because literally, she can't move, so I don't fault her for nothing. He literally was standing right there. Standing. Because when I got upstairs and saw the smoke, I went to running, but when I saw him at the door, it was just like, okay, it's over. No, it's not. It's like he just watching it. He could not move. I begged him. It was a resident who don't even stay on that floor. She came down and she helped me. Like when she got the wife out and moved her to a different apartment. Like when I say I was begging him and he just like, no honey, it's okay. No sweetie, I got it under control. Like literally just standing there saying this. And it was just like, are you fucking serious? So when I found that out, it was just like, wow. Wow. So when he came in, I was like, I knew he was hurting, but in my head, she's still in the hospital. So I'm like, hi, honey, welcome home. So he was like, hi, honey, she didn't make it today. And that right there, just like, all I thought about was hers. Like, I literally saw her just sitting there. Just sitting there. I literally saw her in that spot, sitting right there. And the minute he went upstairs, he had his son take out the wheelchair. She had 2 to 3 canes, and it was something that she used for her back. He made his son take it all out. All out. Within an hour, she'll pass everything that was in the house that helped her with her assistance. He had it gone, completely gone.
Including the
And
No,
that's
just
a
like a
coping-
wheelchair and
That's a
stuff like
coping
that.
strategy. And he might later on sort of regret. Did he take out her clothes and everything?
No,
Yeah,
just
oh,
like
just
a
the medical
wheelchair,
assistive
like yeah.
devices, okay.
He took that
Because
out.
I
He had
went-
the son move it immediately. He took the stuff that was out the house first. Then he gave him the keys because the son came back downstairs. And he was like, I was like, y'all make sure y'all watch him. Because he's so used to doing everything for her. She can't move. He have to do this. He have to do that. So it's like, y'all need to. I was like, y'all need to watch him. He was like, he's gonna be good. My sister coming, that this. He was like, but he's making me take all the wheelchairs, the everything she needed for assistance. Like, you know, they even got in the shower, they have the bar you go hold on. He was like, he even want me to take that out.
You know, when my
He had
father
to
passed,
clean out the car.
when my father passed away, my mother, could not go back in the house. She never did. She couldn't go back in the house, she couldn't sleep there. I mean, she moved from, my brother and my sister and me, moved around until she found her own place. But she, the 3 of us went and we cleaned up the whole place. The building was being sold anyway.
Yeah, you said that your
Right.
father knew
He
something.
knew something, and he made sure that it was taken care of before. But we had to go in there and take stuff, and she has, you know, pictures and things like that with her. Even like we have to go over them because they're like way back from my grandfather and stuff. But so that was taken out. She still has her wedding dress that she made and everything in her closets. But we took those things, and then everything else we had to give away, you know, his clothes and anything. And she never went back. In fact, gave away all the furniture. When she got her house, she bought all new furniture. Because she just couldn't handle it. She didn't want to be reminded. I mean, like they collected crystal that she has. So that she brought with her. That's their thing, they collected crystals. I was thinking this morning, I mean, literally, that whole wall is just like crystals, Swarovski crystal.
Okay.
And she has, you know, they're all in cabinets. You know, and then in the closet, she's got all the boxes that go in there. She got a closet full of little boxes, and I was just thinking, like, oh my God, when the day happens that we gotta sell this house, oh, what am I gonna do with all this crystal? You know, it's like,
Sell it.
I guess I will because it's in perfect condition. It just probably needs to be dusted because it's been in the same place for 12
I was gonna
years now.
ask, how does someone dust all of that? Because that's the main reason
Well,
I don't collect.
That used to
anything.
be their thing. They used to wear, I'll tell you, they used to wear white gloves. And that was like
You
their,
gotta do
their
it one
thing.
by one.
They do a little bit at a time.
That's cute.
And you'd have
I
to
remember
take
the
one at
movie,
a
The
time.
It's really
And you
cute.
put it in soapy water. And you rinse it. And you dry it with a paper towel. And they would have to wear white gloves so it wouldn't get, marks on it. And it was beautiful.
Does she do it any longer?
No.
And that's probably because that was something that they did together.
Exactly. We haven't touched it since we put it there. She's been in that house for 12 years.
It happened to my grandparents. She died first, and she was the head of the household. Like you said, she wore the pants. Right after she died, my my dad and all his siblings had to take turns going and taking care of him because he didn't know how to do much. And then with my dad, my mom took her time throwing things away, but she gave everything away. And then she put away all the pictures. Just the other day, I think I found one of us, or she had talked about, we took a picture at Benihana for her birthday, and she's like, oh, I have it somewhere. But she was like, oh, I have to take the albums out and stuff, but I know she won't do it. I know she won't, because she just talks about it, but I know she's not. And after my father died, it took her 2 years to not ever go back to the cemetery to visit him.
Well, my dad was cremated, and my brother actually still has the ashes. I didn't want them, and my mother didn't want them, and you can have them right there. And my brother has a spot, and put his picture there and stuff, and that's nice. I don't go near it. I don't. I'm the belief that that's not him anyway. He's gone. In fact, I think he's reincarnated in my mother's little dog. So I swear, sometimes when that little dog looks at her and like,
No, I think my son
It's
is
a
my
boy.
my dad reincarnated because he everything. He looks so much like my brother, and my brother looks so much like my dad. So I'm I tell my mom, oh, maybe dad's reincarnated in Josiah.
Oh, I'm sure she
And
loves
she's
hearing
like,
that.
Mom, that's not true. We don't believe in that.
oh, that's right.
Like,
That's not a
okay.
Catholic
But
thing.
how nice to have
Yeah.
beliefs like that make us feel safe.
That's good, and not too many people have photos now. I'm really gonna break my drawer. One piece already done broke, so I might as well just break the goddamn rest of it. I need to finish the kids' photo albums because when my auntie passed, that was one of the first things I took. She had a scrapbook. We used to do that when I was younger. Well, I watched her most of the time because I got aggravated with the pieces. So she used to scrapbook, and it was just who have the patience to sit there, letter by letter, sticker by sticker, and it's my auntie, she loved it. She loved it. It'd just be so crazy because my mom used to buy us a set, and with scrapbooking, you have all these little pieces, you have all these letters, all different type of ways, backwards. It's just you finna sit there and really choose one thing from here, one thing from there, and I would really watch her. I'd be talking mad shit, are you serious? You're not done, and it's just so cute. It was just when I started mine, I was oh, this not so bad.
Oh,
but the difference, I just paste the picture and I'm gonna write something simple or do something. She got this letter from this page, this letter from this. So that was literally the first thing I took. I wanted to find a computer because she has so many pictures on there, but I just got her photo album. I just got her photo
No
album.
one takes pictures anymore. If you have
Shit,
an
me.
iPhone, you just take the picture.
Well, that's
Nobody print out. They don't
No,
print
they
out
don't
pictures.
print
No,
out.
it's not pictures.
I
You
just
go
did
to
that,
a
actually.
family house. It's the old ancient. It's nothing current.
nothing
It's let me
current.
see your
I
daughter
don't
right now
have
at
anything
16.
current
Oh, just
either.
ask her for one on her phone.
No, I have pictures
They're
all
on
over
the
the house.
phone.
I'm a big picture
That's
person.
my mama redecorating the front room, and I
And I
have
have
pictures
all
already in the
pictures.
frame, and I know where they're going on the wall.
And I
My
just
mom had
printed
It's just the
pictures.
old.
Yeah,
like,
yesterday.
5 years
Yeah,
old.
I just printed a picture
Because
because I have a great aunt and she's 85. She doesn't even know how to take a picture on the phone. So it's so she's got frames. So I just got her a picture I had taken of her and her son, and I'm going to give it to her. And she's going to appreciate that, to have something to look at. Because
Yeah, I
she's
like
old
when you
school.
go into older people's houses. They
Yes.
have pictures
I have
everywhere.
They have
They
pictures
are,
of you
my
as a
pictures
baby.
already in the frame.
Yeah,
They're
no,
just waiting to go
It is in the
up.
frame.
I
I
have too
my-
many pictures where I have to locate places for them because I have so too many. And actually, I have a big hallway that, here I am, I've been in the house 13 years and we still haven't put pictures up. We still have pictures from my daughter when she was a baby. I'm like, I'm going to put them on the wall. And 13 years later, they're still in the garage.
We got a little spot like that. We got a little spot like
I'm like, I
that.
still have not put those stupid pictures up there. And I don't plan on
That's the
leaving my
living
house.
room.
You would think I would do that.
That's the living room.
But my brother what he did, my dad took a lot of he liked taking, not only pictures, but movie.
Oh.
I mean, we're going far so back that there was no sound, okay? That's how far. It was like one of those 8-track things, so, you know, there was, you know, there's sections when I'm like 10 years old and it's like, you know. And I remember my dad going, do something! Don't just stand there! What are you gonna do? Like, hi! You know? And so what my brother did is he collected them all and he put them in DVDs. So now we have DVDs of all our childhood.
I can't wait to do that. I can't wait to do that. I have little videos.
If any of them,
I already know what next camera I want, but I'm still learning to use the one I just got.
Kodak.
So I love to take pictures. Now, me being in a picture is a different question. But I love to take pictures, especially the ones that they not paying attention to.
Yeah.
well, my daughter likes to do that too. She hates it when I tell her, okay, I'm on. Don't take a picture of me posing. Just take a picture. Take more than one, she says. I'm like,
I feel
they're
like
the same thing.
they're
You
much
gotta take
better.
pictures.
She
You
got
know?
it from school.
They much better.
Clicking,
That's
clicking,
it.
just standing there.
Well, that's nice that we still have that desire to have these memories, because if we're so quick to be disposable, which
That's
we've
right.
become so disposable with this day and age. I know that I have, and I'm like, oh, whatever, everything, I can throw it away. But I do like when people are nostalgic and I see, oh my God, they have these, you know, antiquated
Yeah, they even
things.
have this
I like that.
it's like a tablet, but you just plug the memory chip in. It's gonna play all the pictures.
Oh yeah.
I've seen
Oh,
that.
Yeah.
It's gonna play all the pictures.
Yeah, we got
I was
that
like,
from
oh,
my
it's gonna be in the
mother-in-law, so
center around the other pictures.
So you can see all the pictures.
My great aunt got one of those when my uncle passed away. She took care of him and everything for a long time. He served in the war, then he was a pediatrician. So they have a picture of him, like mind you, he was like 6'3" with a little boy, and now it says world something pediatrician with boy of color. That's how old this goes back to. When she moved to her condo after he passed away, the picture was gone. And I'm like, where's the picture? Oh, and now it's on a digital thing that someone helped me do. I'm like, how did you figure out how to do a digital
I
thing
know.
when I won't even do that? She got all of his pictures and put it on there. But when she passed, they could only find the painting she did. So she got rid of everything of his, had everything stowed away, but all you could find were the physical paintings she painted. Sold the house, everything, like looked in Coconut Grove, overall beach area and everything, but she kept the grand piano.
You know what I like now that you can do, and I've done it, is you can make photo books.
Yeah.
So you take
I have
the,
4 of them.
yeah, I have some, I've done special
I'm
occasions.
telling you,
So
man.
you must have a lot of
Great.
cancer in your chart.
There's-
Because that's all that memorabilia stuff.
Yeah, cause it's just like
It's like an
when
actual book.
I don't have any.
I used to
You have no cancer in your chart? I have a moon in Cancer. You'd think that I would be more nostalgic. I just have a lot of hard time detaching, but.
Look, I don't have.
She go put it right in my kitchen.
So number 6, and this is a very common one, and why a lot of these antidepressants that a lot of people take when they're on grief, when they're dealing with grief, are on help with sleep, unusual levels of sleep interference. I know this morning I woke up with like this scream, like it was like this scream in my ear, and I was startled and I woke up and I couldn't go back to sleep. Or waking up in the middle of the night, having nightmares or dreams or memories, things like that. And number 7, loss of interest in work, social caretaking or recreational activities to a maladaptive degree. And that is important to hear, to a maladaptive degree. Anyone can want to stay home, anyone can be tired or bored, but when it's maladaptive, that it's really already interfering in a normal life. In a normal life, you know, living. So that's for that. So there's this coping with grief article. Are there 2?
Oh.
I think there's only 1 copy. It's a pretty long one. And this is the question. And we're gonna post this on the Blackboard as well. It's called Coping with Grief. And then there's a brief grief questionnaire. And you can give this to clients.
My accounts are completely empty.
Yeah, but it's your ascendant. It's very important. So it's not empty. Cancer ascendant is the mask that you wear. It's the way you reflect in the world. So it's super important. That's not minor. It had to be, because the way you talk about memorabilia is very Cancerian.
Yeah, now that I'm reading it.
So this article will also post, it's called Coping with Grief, and I'm gonna read you a moment, a brief questionnaire, and it's also something that you can ask clients in session, or you can give to them as a take-home. It's only a few questions. So some of the diagnoses, according to DSM, that the clients might get are typical grief or complicated grief, we just talked about. They can also get major depressive disorder.
He keeps me from going crazy.
PTSD. Anticipatory grief. What's anticipatory grief?
Anybody, what's anticipatory grief?
You're ready to eat frosting before the person dies. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you're expecting, so, anticipating.
And disenfranchised grief. What is disenfranchised grief? And I learned this word several months ago. I was listening to this NPR article, and I really related to this. So I was listening to this article on NPR right before the holidays, right before Thanksgiving. And this woman had written a book, and this was one of her key themes. And it was about parents whose children either don't talk to them or rarely talk to them. And they feel that during the holiday time, they're disenfranchised, that they don't matter. They're sort of left out of the cycle, and they're not accounted for. So unrecognized relationships, an ex-spouse, partner from an extramarital affair, a gay partner, former friend or coworker. I feel like this, I've mentioned my ex is trans. I feel like no one really understands that relationship. So when I try to discuss it, it's not understood. Loss is often not socially validated. Infertility, the other day we were talking about infertility, and I was surprised to find that that's a big one for grieving. Abortion. So if there's stigma around these relationships, perinatal death, death of a companion animal, that's a real big one. People really mourn their animals, and other people mock that.
Because it's like your animals can love you unconditionally without judging you, talking back to you.
Absolutely, absolutely, but other people might laugh at the fact that you're mourning your animal or need to take time off for that, and they don't validate it. death of a very elderly person, so they would think that it's anticipatory grief, that, well, you knew this person was dying, they were 102 years old, it doesn't make it any less. Loss of a person with Alzheimer's, loss of ability, loss of a role or status. People mourn their status. People mourn their role. I am mourning my role as this wife of this person. I am mourning my role as a parent. I know I'm still a parent, but the fact that I don't have children at home that I'm cooking for. I mean, I don't even have a kitchen table now. The kitchen table was the center of my home for 18 years. Tuesday night dinner was a very big deal. I don't have a kitchen table. That's how sad I am. Occasions when the griever or his/her social group have difficulty dealing with the circumstances of the loss. Death involving stigma following a suicide, AIDS, or a criminal act. Circumstances of the death too horrible to face. People cannot always accept what has happened, and they alienate the person who is suffering. I have a friend whose spouse committed suicide. The family is Muslim. They do not know how to deal with it very well. They're just having difficulty. They don't understand what's happening with the little child. They don't understand what's happening with their sister or their daughter. And so it's not that they're alienating completely, but they're just at a loss. So a lot of criticism, a lot of alienation, because they just don't understand it. People are trying to cope in their own way, but it looks to the person who's grieving that they're being alienated. Occasions when the bereaved are assumed by some to be incapable of grieving or perceived as not being strong enough to handle the loss. This is very common. Needing to be protected. Children, people with disabilities, and the elderly. This idea of not being strong enough, whether it's strong enough that they're supposed to be strong enough, getting over it, or that the person doesn't know how to grieve like children. We talked last week about how children think that death is reversible, or children may laugh and smile and play at the funeral because their friends are there. They don't know how they're supposed to grieve. My first experience with death that we were talking about Tuesday, our first experience with death, was my grandmother died. And the cult leader yelled at me because I wasn't crying. And so I had shame and guilt around death. And she was like, "Why aren't you crying? Your grandmother died." I loved my grandmother. I think I understood she was in a better place. She had been in a nursing home. In my family, nursing homes were not good places. That's somewhere you don't put a loved one. But there was nowhere else, no one could take care of her. My mom, my aunts and uncles couldn't take care of her, so they put her in a nursing home. So I think as a child, I was like, oh, she's in a better place. And I got in trouble for grieving wrong.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like I already have a stigma, I have a negative belief around the way that I grieve. And I could definitely relate to this. Multiple losses in a short span of time, so that some have not been acknowledged. I got divorced, I got cancer, I moved 3 times, I started a new job, and I had empty nest syndrome all of last year. That's a lot of loss. I couldn't mourn properly, let's say my divorce, because I had to deal with my cancer. There's a lot going on, or I couldn't deal with my cancer because I was dealing with my divorce, whichever one you want to give credit to.
Was last year your 8?
Was last year my 9. Last year was my 9 year. Yeah, a lot of endings.
We went to 9? Oh, shit. Come on. 8.
So we did a numerology class, and 9 years are endings. Yeah. So I have this thing called the skinny cows and the fat cows. And every 7 years you have what's called a skinny cow. And they're years of losses, years of grief. and 9 years as well, 7 to 9. It starts with the Saturn cycle that we were talking about the other day. So those 2 years tend to be really heavy years of loss, and I had that last year. So multiple losses, and then you have to put something on the back burner, you're not able to, and then of course, that can lead to complicated grief because you haven't been able to mourn everything.
Then you get used to feeling a certain way because you
Right.
don't deal with it, and that becomes.
It's like the new normal, absolutely. So some of the tasks of mourning. We need new mourners.
Yeah.
By the way, did everybody do their survey?